So today we're gonna do a 60-minute slow flow deep stretch class. And we're gonna work our way up from our toes all the way up to the top of the head. So we're gonna actually start in kind of an intense pose called toes pose. It's a good stretch for the feet. So we're starting at the feet, moving our way up. So go ahead and tuck all 10 toes under, and then just take a moment to separate the toes. So you have space between each toe, and each toe makes contact with the mat. All right, and then just sit the entire weight of your body back onto the heels. So there's a bit of pressure in the feet. Sit up tall, find a nice long spine, roll shoulders down away from the ears. And then we're gonna be here for 2 minutes. So might get really intense. If you need to, you just back off, just give your feet a little shake, but really connect with the breath here. So we can take a couple open mouth exhales if we need to. And then we'll just move right into our Ujjayi breath. So let this breath assist you in holding this really intense pose. So just really tune in to the toes and the bottoms of the feet and the heels as they begin to stretch. And when it gets really intense, make that breath deeper and louder. Okay, so we're halfway there. Stay connected. Just observe what's happening in the body and the feet. Observe what's happening in the mind. See if we can soften. And about 5 more seconds. So our last breath here, nice deep inhale. And exhale. All right, and emergency. Hands to the mat. Oh. All right, and give your feet just a little bit of a shake. Get all that blood rushing back in. Okay, now we're gonna take a stretch for the ankles. It's a very gentle stretch, so only if you have healthy ankles. We're gonna just rock back, lifting the knees off the floor, and start to stretch through the ankles and the fronts of the shins. So kind of a little bit of a counter stretch in the ankle area. All right, and gentle release of the knees back down to the mat. And now let's come down onto our back. So find Supta Baddha Konasana, bringing the soles of the feet together, bringing the heels in toward the hips, and then just lay down onto the back. And then just let the knees start to fall toward the floor. Resting hands either alongside the body or on top of the body. And just feel the connection of the body to the earth. So feel the edges of the feet grounding down into the mat. And then if we need to rock back and forth just to find evenness and stability in the pelvis and the sacrum, soften, ground down. And this, bring your awareness up to your shoulders. So once again, if you need to move around so that you feel like even and stable and steady, and then just soften through the shoulders. Let the shoulders fall toward the mat. And then feel the back of the head resting heavy. The face is nice and soft. Letting go of any tension we're holding on to in the jaw, forehead. And just continue to deepen the breath here. Let the breath flow all the way down into the belly. We'll take 5 more breaths here on our back. One final breath here in Supta Baddha Konasana. Inhale and exhale. And let's draw the knees back towards center. Plant the feet flat on the floor, and then just feel the feet grounding into the floor, spreading your toes, making contact, pressing arches of the feet down, pressing into the heels. And then we're going to take supine pigeon, figure 4. So bring the right ankle over the left knee. Start to press the right knee toward the front of the mat. And lift that left foot off the floor. You can take the hands around the back of the thigh or the shin and start to pull that left knee in toward the chest, and then press the right knee toward the front of the mat. Stay active in the feet. And keep the shoulders grounded onto the floor. So try to avoid lifting the shoulders or the head off the floor. And so if the stretch isn't as deep, just back off the stretch. And release the left foot to the floor. We're going to find figure 4 twist now. So left foot is on the floor. We're going to twist to the left. Right foot plants to the floor. Arms extend. We can look to the right. Continue with this deep, steady breath. And then come back towards center. Keep the left foot where it is, and we're going to extend the right foot up toward the ceiling. Then you can hold on to the back of the right leg with the hands, and then we're just going to stretch out the calf and the shin. So start to point the toes and then flex them back. Point, flex, keep going. Now start to move the ankle in a circle. Last one, and then switch directions. All right, and then we can keep that left leg bent, or we can straighten the leg and place it flat on the floor. And we're just gonna increase the hamstring stretch here. So keep the hands where they are or start walking them up the back of the leg. And in this particular stretch, we're actually going to lift the shoulders off the mat and work the forehead toward the knee. So engaging the core a little bit, and then really actively pulling that right leg toward the face. And again, this might be too much, so just back off of it, bend the leg if that's needed, bend the left leg if that's needed. Hold here, couple more breaths, feeling the core working, holding the shoulders up off the floor, stretching through that right hamstring. And walk the hands back down the leg. Bend that right leg, place it on the floor, and we'll cross the left ankle over the right knee. Start to press the left knee toward the front of the mat, and then lift that right leg off the floor. Interlace hands behind the back of the thigh or around the front of the shin. And start to draw that right knee in as we press the left knee open, flexing all 10 toes back toward both knees, and keeping the shoulders grounded on the floor. Deep breaths here. So just bringing all your awareness to the stretch that's happening in your glute, happening in your hip, and either going deeper or backing off. Depending on how your body is feeling, you just want to feel a nice, deep stretch. Last breath here. And then slowly release right foot to the floor. And we're going to twist. So bring the left foot to the right. Keep that right foot on the floor, leg bent, and then extend the arms either to goalpost or T. Maybe look to the left. Work toward getting both shoulders grounded onto the floor, and work toward getting that left foot to the floor. Deep breathing here. And then come back towards center. Right foot plants on the floor, knee is bent. Extend that left leg up toward the ceiling. I'm going to hold on to the back of the leg and then start to point and flex the foot. So you should feel this stretching the calf on the back and the shin on the front. And then start to move the foot in circles in one direction. And the other direction. And come back to neutral. And with the right leg bent or straight, your choice, taking a hold of the grip of the back of the leg, we're actually going to start to walk the hands up the back of the leg. So we're going to get into the hamstring here, but we're also going to be working the core. So we have the assistance of the hands to hold us up off the floor, but the core should be really engaged. So pressing the belly button back toward the spine. Just continue to deepen into the stretch, drawing the forehead toward the knee. Hold here. Arms are working, core is working, hamstring is stretching. Both hips are flat to the floor. Stay active in the right leg, nice and engaged through the quadricep. Hold here. And slowly release shoulders back to the floor. Walk the hands down the leg. Now let's drop both knees into the chest. And just, we're gonna massage out the sacrum and the low back. So circles with the knees in one direction. Okay, so just feel your sacrum rooted onto the floor. Just giving it a little massage here. And then switch directions. And then hug the knees in tight. So let's find a deep compression in both hips. So you can just reach opposite hand for opposite wrist, maybe opposite elbow. Drawing the knees closer to the chest, but then pressing the tailbone down toward the floor. The toes and the ankles and the heels are all side by side. Neck is nice and long. Back of the head is grounded to the floor. One last little squeeze. Feel the compression in your hips. And then keep the knees into the chest, but relax the grip and just take the hands onto the knees if they aren't already. And then we're gonna rock the length of the spine. Actually, before we do that, we're gonna separate the legs and come into happy baby. So you can hold on to the backs of the thighs, the backs of the calves, ankles, the edges of the feet, peace fingers around big toes, and then press the sacrum down to the floor again. Low back is pressed down, and then we'll find first movement side to side on the spine. So massaging out the spine, and then of course, bonus, we get this nice inner thigh stretch. If it feels good to bend and straighten one leg at a time, feel free to do that. Just find some organic movement. So feel into what is needed in your body, where you feel tight, where you need extra stretch, or where you need to be gentle today. Last breath in happy baby. And then draw the knees into the chest, and now we're gonna roll the length of the spine. So once again, just massaging out the spine, making contact. We're gonna come all the way forward and all the way back. And then just find a little bit of a hover at the top, so a little engagement of the core, working on finding that stability and balance. And again, bonus, little massage for our back. Keep going. Feeling a couple pleasant little pops in my back. And then we'll just do one more. Come all the way up. This time cross over the ankles. And we're gonna start to work into knees now and quadriceps. So we're gonna take hero pose first. You need a block. If the knees are tight, please sit on a block. Otherwise, we take the shins to the floor. We're gonna separate the ankles and just roll the calves out of the way, giving us a little more space to sit the hips between the heels. Okay, tops of the feet are flat to the floor. We're drawing the knees toward one another. So even if they don't touch, we want to stay really active in the inner thighs. You should feel this nice deep stretch in the knees. Again, if this is too much, sit on a block, maybe sit on the heels. You're still getting a wonderful stretch in the knees and the quads. Okay, and if this feels great and you want to go further, we start to work our way onto the back. Yeah, we'll just sit maybe on top of the foot. How does that feel on top of the foot? Or sit high on a block so you don't have any weirdness in the ankle. Yeah. Yeah. So if we're sitting upright, find a tall spine, drawing shoulders away from the ears. If we start to descend, take it nice and slow. We just start to walk those hands back. We maybe come onto the forearms, maybe onto the elbows, and maybe all the way down onto the back. So hero pose is a back bend in the low back. So in this particular pose, if you do descend and come all the way down, the low back will actually be lifted off the floor. Okay, so you're gonna have a little space. You could slide your arm underneath your back. Okay, so no reason to start to press it down. Let it be lifted. Belly is lifting up toward the sky. And then continue to draw the knees toward one another. If you have tight knees like me, this is a challenge, but this keeps the legs engaged and the inner thighs active. So we're stretching, but we're also building strength and stability in the legs. So you'll feel this stretch from the knees up into the quads, and then the stretch keeps coming up toward the hip flexors, the fronts of the hips. Keep both hips level. So try to avoid having one lifting up higher than the other. If that's happening, then just back out of the pose so that we can make everything nice and even and stable. And again, if this is comfortable and you want to go even deeper, you can start to reach the arms up overhead, maybe take opposite hand toward opposite elbow. Some nice deep breaths here. Another very intense stretch, especially as we hold it. Should feel things happening in the body, starting to open up, starting to stretch. So just be aware of what's happening. Be conscious of what's happening. Especially be conscious of your thoughts as you hold the pose. Try to find some softness, even though it's intense and we're working. Deep Ujjayi breaths. Last full breath in hero. Inhale. Exhale. If we are on our backs, very slowly come out of it. So take hold of the heels, come up onto the elbows, come up onto the forearms, come up onto the hands. And then if we can hang in there for just a while longer, we're gonna keep left leg in hero pose, and we're gonna extend that right leg forward. So we're in half hero. We're gonna get right back into the hamstring with half hero forward fold. So just gonna rock back and forth. So both sitting bones are grounded on the floor. Right leg is active, toes are flexed back. Lift both arms up overhead so the spine is nice and long. And then we're gonna hinge at the hip, reaching toward quad, calf, ankle, foot. Okay, and if we find that we're rolling off to the side, we can use the hand for stability to keep sitting bones grounded on the floor. So really just be really conscious of sitting bones on the floor. Continue with your deep breathing, reaching the forehead toward the toes. So slowly back out of the stretch. And then we're gonna come into half hero, half lotus twist. So another stretch for the knee. We're gonna bring that right ankle to the left hip. Right knee is gonna draw toward the floor. And then left hand is gonna come onto the right knee, right hand out behind. We're gonna twist, base of the spine, through the crown of the head, sitting up tall. Keeping the head in line with the spine, opening through the right shoulder, just continuing to press that right knee down toward the floor. And unwind. And back to hamstring and core strengthening. We're going to come into heron pose. So start to extend that right leg up toward the ceiling. We need a strap around the foot or to hold onto the back of the leg and start to walk the hands forward. That's fine. We're eventually working the leg towards straight. We really want to open the chest, drawing the shoulders down, lifting the chest toward the toes, breathing. Softening through the face, maybe closing the eyes. And then bend that right leg, take the foot to the floor. We're going to switch sides. So we're going to take a very short seated forward fold first. We'll do a longer forward fold later, but let's just ground through the sitting bones, extend both legs straight, and just start to walk the hands along the tops of the legs, hinging forward, coming forehead toward toes. And we're just going to be here for 3 breaths. So deep, slow Ujjayi breaths. Inhale. Exhale. And just really observe the difference between your left leg and your right leg now. Feel all the sensation that's coming back into the left leg after hero pose and half hero pose. Last breath. And release. So we're going to come back into half hero. Right leg is going to bend and come back behind us. Top of the foot comes flat to the floor. If this is too much on the knee, we always just bring that right sole of the foot to left inner thigh. So your choice here, just getting this bonus knee stretch. So toes point up toward the ceiling, quad is active. Inhale, both arms up overhead so we can lengthen through the spine. Then we're going to hinge forward at the hips, reaching for quad, calf, ankle, or foot. And then if we fall to the side, right sitting bone comes off the floor. Stabilize yourself and really bring your attention keeping the sitting bones flat to the floor. So don't sacrifice that for the depth of the stretch. So really focus on staying stable and even. Deep breathing here. Last breath, half hero forward fold. And then come all the way back up, and we're going to take half hero, half lotus twist. So the left leg is going to come into the right hip. Left knee is going to draw down toward the floor. We're going to take that right hand to the left knee, left hand out behind. Option, of course, always to bind the toe. And then keep the shoulders stacked right over the hips as we start to look over the back shoulder. Deep breathing in this deep twist. We're going to unwind from the twist. Bring that left foot to the floor. We're going to come into heron pose. So take the hands underneath the foot, rock that foot off the floor and start to extend it straight. If the leg's not straight, no worries. We can hold on to the back of the thigh, the back of the calf, ankle, draw shoulders down away from the ears, and then really focusing on shining the chest forward. So keeping an open chest, gaze is up past the toes. Deepen into the breath. Lots of things happening in the body. Quadricep stretch, knee stretch, ankle stretch, hamstring stretch. Little work in the arms here, a little core strength. And slowly release. So one more Paschimottanasana. Extend that right leg forward. Give your legs a little shake if needed. And then we're just gonna walk, so feet are at hip distance apart, just walk the hands down the legs. It's a short one, so 3 breaths. Deep inhale, exhale, 2 more. And make your way back up. Okay, so we're gonna come into Dandasana, which is a seated staff pose. So again, just ground the sitting bones into the earth. And then we're gonna sit nice and tall. So this is spine strengthener. So sit the shoulders right over the hips, reach through the crown of the head, lower the shoulders away from the ears. Active in the legs, so we're flexing the toes back, quads are engaged. Sit up, sit up, sit up. This should feel like it's a bit of work, okay? Continue to breathe. Then we'll do one little shoulder stretch before we come into our first down dog and start tying everything together. So hold here for another couple breaths. I feel my spine working. Unfortunately, we don't have this great posture all the time, so it's an important pose to practice. You should feel your hips working, quads working, and of course, all the muscles along the spine. All right, extend the arms straight out to the side, and then we're gonna just start to rotate the palms up toward the ceiling, and see if you can get your pinkies all the way up to the ceiling, which is not gonna happen, but I want to really increase that rotation, and then opposite way. So you can get the palms of the hands facing the floor. Okay, and then just back and forth, sit up tall. So work the spine as we work the arms. So I just want the shoulders to find rotation, maybe a little warmth. Breathe. Last one here. Now, extend the arms up overhead. Nice tall spine. You feel your muscles working. Clench the fists. Okay, extend the fingers. And clench and extend. Make it active. Clench, extend. All right, start picking up the pace. Clench, clench, clench. Tall spine. Breathe. Feel that heat building in your hands, heat building in the shoulders, and man, we're working the spine. Sit up tall. Keep going. Faster. Faster. Oh, keep going, keep going, keep going. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's no joke. All right, so one quick stretch of the shoulders before down dog. So just draw the left arm across, lower the shoulder down away from the ear. Switch it out. Right arm across the body, right shoulder away from the ear. Still nice and tall in the spine. Legs are active and working. And release. All right, down dog. I think we're ready. I'm gonna get the whole body in here. Nice long stance on the mat. Spread the toes nice and wide. So see if you can make contact with each toe and find a little space between each toe. Start drawing the heels down toward the mat. And spread the fingers wide. Your middle finger is pointing toward the front of the mat. The fingers are spread wide, and then just bring the thumbs in just a tiny little bit. It's not too much pressure in the palm of the hand. Let the head dangle. Just start to lengthen through the spine. So gravity is gently pulling the head toward the floor, creating more space between each vertebra. And so we're simultaneously stretching and strengthening here. And of course, you can find movement. So again, stretching the calves by pedaling the feet, stretching the hamstrings. And then get real active in the arms. So feel the energy coming up through the forearms. We start to take the biceps and we're gonna rotate them in toward the ears. So we're broadening through the upper back, engaging through the shoulders. Last breath in this downward facing dog. All right, so look toward the hands and come forward into plank pose. Make any adjustments that are needed so that the shoulders are right over the wrists. Feet are in line with the hips, heels are lifted, and then we look past our fingertips. So the head is in line with the spine, the neck is nice and long. Deep breathing here. Drawing the belly button back toward the spine. So core is really engaged here. This is not just in our arms, it's not just in our legs. And then come back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale. Come forward to plank. Remember, modification for plank, if this is too much to hold, just take the knees to the floor. Down dog. Okay, so at your own pace, inhale plank, look past your hands, exhale down dog. Inhale plank, exhale down dog. So at your pace, just keep going back and forth. Okay, now this time as we come forward, keep your toes tucked and come into high cobra. We're gonna hold high cobra here, just stretching through the core. So we're working again, the hip flexors are opening, the quads are opening, got the toes nice and active, shoulders away from the ears, so try and avoid any crunching or hunching, and instead stay lifted and upright. Hold here for another breath. Feel the stretch in your core. and then back to down dog. All right, so same thing with your breath at your pace. Come forward, high cobra. Keep your toes tucked under, and then back to down dog. Forward, cobra. Open the chest, open the core. Exhale, down dog. Last one. Okay, back from downward facing dog. Lift the right leg high, three-legged dog. And then we're gonna take that right foot to the outside of the right hand. Release the left knee to the floor, and we're gonna take the quad stretch. So left hand stays on the floor. Draw the left heel into the hip. Hold on to the foot. You can take it from either direction, outside of the foot or inside of the foot. And then option, if you want to deepen into the inner thigh, take that right, come to the outer edge of the right foot, and then open the right knee. And take it into a twist if you'd like. Breathe deeply, observe what's happening in the body. Keep the thoughts nice and soft, even in the intensity, and the breath follows. And then the thoughts follow the breath. Steady the breathing. And then release that left foot gently to the floor. Lift that left knee off the floor. Both hands planted firmly on the floor, and then walk the left foot to the outside of the left hand and come into Malasana or garland pose. So lower the hips down toward the floor. Knees come, or elbows come into the knees. Sit up nice and tall. Getting deep into the hips here. As we draw the tailbone down, we lift up through the crown of the head. So we're gonna find a stretch for the upper back. We're gonna start walking the tops of the hands out behind us, lowering the forehead toward the floor, rounding through the upper back. We can gently draw the chin toward the chest. Once the head comes toward the floor, we look straight back. We don't look side to side. Try not to find any movement here in the neck, just the stretch of the chin reaching toward the chest. And just feel that heat building in the hips. We hold a lot in our hips, a lot of tension and stress, baggage. So it's really good to focus on opening the hips, working the hips, releasing from the hips. Last breath here. And then come back up. Take the keep the left foot where it is, and then take that right knee back, or right foot back, and lower the knee to the floor. Right hand stays on the floor, and we reach for the left foot or the right foot with the left hand. And then option here to go into the inner thigh. We roll onto the outer edge of the left foot. Maybe open through the left shoulder. And just observe how this side might feel different than the other side. And just work with whatever is happening in the body. So if that means we go deeper or back off on this side as opposed to the other, listen to the body. And release that right foot to the floor, hands to the floor, and then step back, downward facing dog. And just take a minute here to pedal out the feet. All right, now come onto the shins. Keep the hips right over, you can take the tops of the feet flat to the floor. Hips are gonna stay right over the knees. Then we're gonna start to walk the hands straight forward. Okay, for now, just right now, keep the elbows lifted off the floor and then press the armpits down toward the mat. So big, big stretch here in the shoulders. And now walk the hands towards each other, release the elbows onto the floor, connect the palms of the hands, and then take the thumbs to the back of the head. So you're gonna feel a really nice stretch, not only in the shoulders now, but in the triceps as well. Release the hands back onto the floor. Start to walk the hands back up so that we're in a tabletop position. And then tuck the toes under back to down dog. We're going to do a couple of longer holds and some standing postures. So lift that right leg up and back behind us and then step through so we're in a low lunge. Okay, now plant the left heel onto the floor, spiral the arms up, come into warrior two. Okay, so we're gonna hold warrior two for 3 minutes. So find the alignment first in the legs, lowering into 90 degrees, knee over ankle, shoulders away from ears, active through the fingertips, chin coming over the shoulder. Okay. And stay really, really active in the back quads. This is tight. Good, and then that right knee draws toward the right pinky toe. Toes look really nice and spread. Lower the shoulders away from the ears, and then really actively extend through the fingertips. And shoulders stay right over the hips. Looks good. I'm gonna press you forward a little bit. Beautiful. Nice active arms. Yeah, get deep. Nice. And then just feel the quad nice and engaged, tightening and straightening. Beautiful warriors. Good. One more minute. So tap into the breath. And keep that breath steady and the face soft. This will aid us and just assist in calming the thoughts as well. Okay, so it's intense, but we're in control. Deepen into the breath. Dig deep, dig deep. Almost there. Five more seconds. Excellent. 5-pointed star. Reach the arms up, and then heels behind the toes, hinge at the hips, and come all the way forward. Prasarita, Padottanasana. Rest into the breath. Head is below the heart. Legs are still active and engaged, but there's some softness here in the spine. All right, rise back up, 5-pointed star. And we're just gonna do it on the other side now. All right, so just go face the back of your mat. Good, so we know all of our points of alignment, so take some time here. Get into the pose properly. Looks really nice. You could even increase your stance just a tad. You're so tall. Yes, beautiful, beautiful. Breathing. Engaged. Toes look awesome. Yeah. You can do that. You can do that. Okay. Dig deep, you have this. Second side a little harder because we already worked the shoulders. So the shoulders might feel a little more fatigued. Always, if you need a little break, just relax, shake it out, and then come back to it because you can. Keep those shoulders nice and open. So the breath, nice and steady. It's telling the body, it's telling the mind, you're okay, you've got this. The face, no clenching of the jaw. And what are your thoughts doing? Maybe saying, I hate this pose so much right now, but I've got this. I can do this. And we're almost there. Almost. Maybe if you feel balanced, you can even close the eyes. Really turn inward. Nothing else to do here except feel the sensations happening in your body. And know that these sensations, although maybe unpleasant, are good. We're working, we're building strength, we're building stamina. Good job. 5-pointed star. Prasarita. And then just dangle here. Let this be relaxing. So we don't need to be active in the arms. The arms need a little bit of a break. You can just kind of rest them gently on the floor. Let that head dangle. And right now you can actually wobble the head. You can take it in little circles. Just release any tension that we are feeling in the neck, any tension we are feeling in the shoulders. Nice steady breath. All right, so walk your hands to the back of your mat. So you're in low lunge, and then 3-legged dog, and then downward facing dog. Hello, little worm. And then come down onto the knees, and then just go ahead and turn around. So you're facing the front of your mat. Okay, so we're gonna do one last little bit of core. So we're gonna strengthen and stretch, okay? So let's come into boat pose. So again, wiggle around, feel the sitting bones on the floor, then lift the feet off the floor. We can hold onto the backs of the legs or extend the arms, knees drawing toward one another. And again, legs bent or straight. All right, let's come into stretch pose. So extend heels to hover, shoulders hover, hold here. Come back up into boat pose and then roll to the left. So you're on your left outer glute and hip and extend the arms to the right. Find arrow mudra, maybe straight legs. Come back towards center, switch it out, roll to the right, so you're on the right outer edge of your glute, extend the arms long, maybe legs come to straight. So feel the obliques crunching here, building a ton of core strength, a little massage for your glute and hip. Come back towards center, hug the knees into the chest, and then just roll down onto the back. And let's plant the feet on the floor, knees up toward the ceiling. And then take the feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Bring your arms into goal post. Keep your gaze neutral up toward the ceiling, and then just start to rock the knees side to side. Complete the cycle on each side, and then we'll come back to center. And then draw the knees back into hip distance apart, arms alongside the body, and let's stretch the core and lift the hips up for bridge pose. And then if we want the chest expansion, the shoulder opener, you can interlace fingers underneath the hips, coming into yoga mudra, and roll onto the shoulders. So another shoulder opener, heart opener. Okay, and then we'll just do a little bit of glute work and spine work. So first, clench the glutes, tighten up the glutes, lifting the hips higher. So really active in the glutes. Now keep this height. Use all the strength in your spine to hold yourself here and completely relax the glutes. You're just gonna feel the muscular energy move. Okay, so glutes are loose, they're just kind of hanging out. But you're still lifted. All the muscles in the spine holding you here. Clench the glutes, work them, work them, work them. Really, really tight buns. Maybe the hips lift up a little bit higher. Clench, clench, clench. Okay, now keep your height. Relax the glutes. See how that moves up into the low back, along the spine. Okay, building a lot of strength here in the back. Last time, tighten up the glutes. Maybe the hips lift a little bit higher. Tight buns, working the muscles. And bonus, we're opening up our core, we're opening up our chest. Hold here, high, 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 relax the glutes. Oh yeah, lots happening in the body. Just be aware, feel that energy move. You know, isolating the different parts of the body. All right, slowly lower down. Good. Let the knees rest toward one another first. And then slowly draw the knees back in toward the chest. Okay, so just one rock on the spine. Cross over the ankles and come onto the belly. I'm going to take another shoulder stretch. So from here, we're going to take the arms wide. We're going to come up onto the pads of the fingers. We're going to lift the chest off the floor. Then we're going to lower the left shoulder and look to the right. So just feel a deep stretch in your left shoulder head. Little strength building in the arms too. So your arms are working. A stretch in your neck. Come back through center and to the other side. Come back to center all the way down. Right arm extends to the right. And then we're gonna roll to the right. Left foot plants to the floor. Right ear rests on the floor. A little more of a passive stretch, so we're not as active in the arms here. But we're getting the stretch into very close to the same spot. And then come back towards center, and we're gonna extend the left arm to the left and roll to the left. Right foot up and over. And then just let the head be heavy on the floor. So left ear is on the floor. And come back to center. Good. And then just press up. Make your way back onto your back. All right, we're gonna take one more twist before we close our class. You can take whatever twist is your favorite, but I'm gonna guide you through one twist. So bring the knees into the chest. Nice tight little ball here. And then just from this ball, release your knees to the right. And then extend your left arm to the left, and if it feels good, you can place that right hand on the left knee. So if you prefer a different twist variation, please feel free to take that. This one feels really good for my lower back, so I like this one. You should also feel a stretch in your shoulder. So we extend the left hand to the left, palm to the floor. And let's come back to center and release the legs to the left. You can rest that left hand on the right knee, extend that right arm to the right. Oh, jeez. You can just bring your awareness to your low back. This is a nice low back release. Press that right shoulder onto the mat. Draw the knees back to center, and then tight squeeze. And this time we are going to lift the shoulders off the floor. Bring the forehead toward the knees. Tuck into a tiny little ball. Get real active in the arms, real active in the core. Active, active, active. Tight, tight, tight. And then slowly release. So just feel that contrast as we move into Shavasana. So for corpse pose, we extend the legs long, let the feet fall open, arms alongside the body, palms face up, fingers relaxed. Sometimes it can help us just settle and ground with a big open mouth exhale if you'd like. And then we move toward just releasing our yoga breathing. So we just come back to the natural rhythm and state of breath. Working our way into a place of peace and release. Maybe one of the few times we'll take during our day to just be calm, to be still, to be centered, to be present. Start to awaken the body by wiggling fingers and toes, rolling the wrists and ankles. Reaching arms overhead for a full stretch. Big breath in, and then roll onto the side, pulling the knees toward the chest, cradling the head and the arm. Taking our time to make our way up to a seat, taking a moment to acknowledge our practice, setting an intention for our day. And then slowly pressing up, coming into a seated position. Bringing hands to the heart. Big breath in. Inhale through the nose, fill all the way up. Exhale through the mouth. Close the lips. Today, as you go forward, may you have peace in your thoughts, peace in your words, peace in your heart. Namaste.